Så, hej och välkomna till Lemontree Morning Event som idag hålls tillsammans med Tricentis som kommer visa hur man kan underlätta SAP-uppdateringar med hjälp av AI. Först tänkte jag bara berätta lite snabb fakta om Lemontree. Vi grundades 1999 så vi har funnits i ungefär 20 år. Och vi jobbar framförallt med testning, automatisering och digitalisering. Och vi har idag ungefär 40 konsulter och jobbar både i Sverige och i Norge. Och så har vi då några olika partners som vi jobbar med och där Tricentis är en av dem. För att snabbt gå igenom agendan för det här webbinariet så har ni nu fått höra en jättekort introduktion av Lemontree av mig, Isabella. Hej hej! Och jag kommer snart att lämna ordet till Ferry Wolf som är Solutions Architect på Tricentis. Han kommer att hålla den här presentationen på engelska. Och om ni samlar på er frågor under webbinariet så är det bara att ni skriver dem i kommentarsfältet och så tar vi en liten stund på slutet för att gå igenom dem. So, I'm switching over to English. Ferry, I just gave them a short introduction about Lemontree and I'm now handing over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Let me start sharing my screen. There we go. So good morning to you all. Nice to meet you. Welcome. My name is Ferry Wolf. I work for Tricentis as a solution architect, and I support our partners like Lemontree in all the product-related subjects from our platform. And today we're going to talk around smart impact analysis on SAP, which is AI-powered. But before I go into the demo, let me quickly first explain you who Tricentis is. So for the people who do not know Tricentis, we are a testing company. First started as a test management company, but now we are a tool company. There we started with the creation of a tool called Tosca as test automation. And later on, it has been recognized by the market, and that helped us to really grow in much more functionality. Also, besides test automation, we have test management, test data management, we have load testing, and also smart impact analysis. And the beginning of this year, or let's say in the summer of this year, we also became a Solex partner of SAP. That's also where this impact analysis is focusing on. In this case, it's not only around test automation, we really want to improve the complete testing process, to really speed it up, to have it much more efficient, to have better coverage in there. And also in there, we support more than 1,800 customers worldwide in all kinds of industries. And to be able to reach that one, we are, of course, depending on our most strategic partners, like Lemontree, who has the knowledge to support us in the implementation and functional usage of our platform. Besides that, of course, our tech alliances, and for today, we're focused a bit more on the SAP part for that smart impact analysis. Looking at SAP, they are changing now their strategy. They're going to a strategy which is more like what they call their intelligent suite. And in that intelligent suite, they have their core, which is still their SAP, ECC, and the new HANA. But besides that, they have already bought or implemented all kinds of other solutions, like SuccessFactors, like Ariba, like Concur, for example, for people management. But the message here is that even SAP is now moving to a new modern technology, a new digital platform with new technologies like AI, like cloud-based, like analytics. So a real digital transformation. And to be able to support this new strategy, they are looking into a new testing approach. And therefore, they have selected Tricentis to be the go-to company if it comes to testing and test automation on SAP. Because in this case, our platform fits in that new cloud strategy to have that faster releases. So it doesn't matter in which state you are currently in your SAP part. So if it's still around staying fit, those are companies who say, okay, we are in SAP, we are fine in the way how it goes right now. We do not have to make that move into the new intelligent platform. It's all fine. We'll just wait until 2027 until that must be supported. And that's, of course, where we can support with our just regression testing. The second one is getting ready. Those are the companies who are about to make the move from, let's say, the old to the new HANA world. And that's where the complete platform of Tricentis can support. In regression testing from the old to the new situation, but also for impact analysis to know where the changes are. And the third move is, the third level is making the move. Those are the organizations who are already running on that new HANA platform, who already have making the move into that new way of working. And then they have to deal with that new way of working, with faster deliveries, with faster innovations, with more enhanced specs. And that's, of course, where also the complete platform can support you in having that complete process supported. But also then it needs to be scalable because it runs in a cloud. And that's where, of course, also our load testing comes into play. So therefore, we have this partnership now. And to answer all these questions, we have three main questions. The first one is what to test. And that's where LiveCompare comes into play. It's a smart impact analysis to analyze your complete SAP environment and tells you where are the most at-risk objects which are being changed by a new release. Finally, if you then know what to test, you want to know, does it work? And that's where Tosca comes into play. That's our continuous testing test automation platform. Without scripting, we can do full end-to-end testing, cross-technology, also taking care of all those SAP environments. But it's not only around test automation, also taking care of your test data management. We can virtualize your surrounding systems. We can integrate with all kinds of tools, also for API level. So really covering the complete landscape. And finally, if you know if it works, then of course you want to know, does it scale? Because everybody is now moving more into a SaaS and cloud-based offering, you want to know, does it scale? Does it work with high volumes? And that's where Flood comes into play for load testing on those cloud-based solutions. And it's all surrounded in this case, because we're focusing on SAP, around Solution Manager, which is their management tool from SAP. But for today, we are going to focus on LiveCompare. So the first thing we want to know is what to test. And here is then the story which is going on. As mentioned, it is the digital transformation. The IT is moving to more modern technology, but also the business is moving more to modern technology. They want to be faster in supporting the customers with new changes and new functionality to support the customers. But maybe, as you know, SAP is a core system. It's really the heart of your operations, and therefore it must work. What we currently see out there is that those testing projects on SAP are big. They are taking a huge amount of time because it must work. And that's, of course, what is blocking to have that high velocity. And you want to innovate faster, the business wants to innovate faster, but because it is your core system, we have those massive testing projects. So that's blocking each other. And this is exactly where LiveCompare is going to help you. LiveCompare analyzes your complete SAP system and will tell you which objects are most at risk when it comes to a new release, helping you to focus on the right objects you need to test. Drastically lower the amount of objects you need to test, which will, of course, help you to speed up the delivery. You have to test less, right? But still, you will have to take care of that right quality. And because we know which objects are most at risk, we will cover that right quality, so reducing that risk. How does it then work? Oh, by the way, before I forget, this is just a quote from one of our customers. Just by the use of LiveCompare, they were able to increase their SAP releases 8 times. So they went from 11 releases a year to 88 releases a year, almost 2 releases a week, just by using LiveCompare, because they know where they need to focus. So how does it work? In this case, SAP analyzes and learns your complete SAP environment. In this case, for example, there are, let's say, 3,000 objects actively being used in your SAP environment. Standard SAP and customized SAP. And now, of course, there will be changes. There will be new releases, a new wave or a new sprint with all kinds of new functions and encoding and etc. That will be stored in a transport, right? That's the SAP way of delivery, transports. LiveCompare analyzes the complete transport on code level and will then tell you which objects are being changed. So it analyzes transaction changes, code changes, function changes. And from those used objects, it will then tell you which ones are being impacted by those transports. And there you will see it already reduces a bit of the scope. But still, it's more than 2,400 objects. Still a lot to do. Here are more tools which can do the same, but here are tools which will stop. LiveCompare goes one step further. As a next step, from those impacted objects, it has a smart algorithm which will tell you from those impacted objects which ones are really most at risk for the business. Which business processes do you need to focus on? Drastically reducing the amount of objects you need to test to more than, let's say, 470. And with those lower amount of objects, you will cover 100% of all your changes. So you will test everything by just doing less and will take care of the right quality by having that right focus. And LiveCompare is what we call run and done in a day. It only takes you 1 or let's say 2 days to have your first results. No difficult configurations needed or settings needed. You just implement it. LiveCompare analyzes your system, analyzes the changes, and will tell you what is the impact. Then LiveCompare goes again one step further. So here we have that lower amount of objects. There they are again. And as a second step, it will go into your test repository. In this case, it could be Tosca or maybe it could be some other test automation tool. But from those most at-risk business processes, it will look into your automation solution. Do I already have a test case? Yes or no? If I have already an automated test case, we call it a hit. But if we have for those most at-risk processes not a test case, we call it a gap. And that will be mentioned then in your automation tool. And why this is important? Well, in the end, it will bring you the following. Here you will see the number of gaps and the number of releases. And of course, in your first release, you will have a lot of gaps, right? It's a new project, it's a new environment, it's all new. But what you will see over time is that the number of gaps is drastically going down, which means that you're building out the right automated regression test set with that right focus, with that right quality. So you do not have to recreate any new test cases. You have to maintain less test cases because it has the right focus. And the combination of that impact analysis with your test automation, that of course will speed up the delivery and all the testing process. So before I jump into the demo, a quick overview on how it works in the background. LiveCompare analyzes or has connection with 3 environments: your development environment, your test environment, and your production environment. Dev, that's where all the new build functionality will be, and new code changes, new features, enhancement specs from SAP, which will be based in a transport. Then we have our test environment, our current situation. And as mentioned, LiveCompare analyzes the transport in detail and then can tell you the delta between those 2 environments. That's step 1. Step 2, we have a connection with production. And no worries, we are not interested in production data. We are only interested in usage data. we want to know how often are certain transactions being used. And that information of the changes and the usage, that will be taken into that smart impact analysis and will tell you which business processes are most at risk, where you need to focus in your test environment. So let's show you how this works in a live demo. So this is how LiveCompare looks like. It's a web-based application, but it runs on-premise. It's not a cloud-based application, it runs on-premise. So all the data remains within your organization. And besides impact analysis, we also can do much more for SAP. For example, we can analyze the code quality. We can see impact on security and on roles. We can do some release assurance to know if you can go live, yes or no. We have an assessment if you want to make that move to HANA. So it's much more than just only testing. But for now, let's focus on the testing part. And there you will then see what we call them apps. Those apps all have all kinds of functionality. And for today, we focus here on the smart impact analysis. 2 columns, the variance. So of course, we can connect to multiple SAP environments and the results. And here I already have one available. And this is the only information you need to give to LiveCompare. The first one, the transports. So here I can just fill in which are the transports within SAP. Also, we can connect, for example, to Solution Manager, to Charm, and to integrate. We can read it from Excel, but in the end, you just mentioned the transport here, which needs to be analyzed by SAP or by LiveCompare. Then you will see our 3 environments, the dev, the test environment, and the production environment. It's using those connections. This is the minimum you need to fit in to do your analysis. But just filling this in, you can already start. But as a second step, we have some optional fields to integrate with your test automation. So we can compare changing objects. We can select where is our test repository to search for your test cases. We can already create some automated test execution, and we give them some logical naming. So these are optional steps to run them in your automation. This is it. This is the only thing you need to fill in. And then, of course, you can start the analysis. It can also be integrated into your pipeline if you want to. But this analysis will take you 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, a few hours. It just depends on the size of the changes and the size of your environment, right? So in this case, I will not run it. But then, of course, you will have a result. And there in this result, you will first see a quick tree map view, a quick overall view on the result. So per application area, you can see here what it is. So material management, application components, real estate, financial. The blue boxes are most at risk. The gray ones are impacted. And the bigger the box, the more at risk it is. And this graph is interactive. So I can click on it and zoom in, right? But also we have a dashboard. And there you will see a bit more familiar graphs. This one, this is something you've seen in my presentation. So from this analysis, we can see that 6,300 objects are being used, custom and standard. Let's say 2,500 objects of those are being impacted by the changes. And 164 are most at risk. As you can see, drastically lower the amount and still covering all the changes. Then from those 164, you can see how many hits and gaps of test cases we have. So here you can see 121 gaps. So we have some work to do, right? Here you can see per change, what is the impact? Transaction change, role change, IDOC change, program change, etc. So for example, from a transaction, you will see 87 transactions are most at risk, 37 are already covered by test cases. And here you can see some results per application area of SAP. Again, a quick dashboard. But now we want to have the details, which can help you to define your testing process. And if I click at one, it will download an Excel. And I think I already have that Excel here. Yeah, it's on my second screen. There it is. Here you will have all the results of the complete analysis. So first you will see the overall view, that same dashboard again, but then you will see a few sheets underneath. And the most important one here is that home sheet. This is the result of your complete analysis. So there you can see in which area of SAP it is, which type of changes, so a transaction change, an IDOC change, a program change, etc. The transaction, for example, here you can see we have standard transactions. For example, here you can also see we have customized transactions. So we really analyze everything. And then you can see what type of changes. In this case, you will see those most at risk. But if you are interested also in which ones are impacted, well, just select them. And there they are. Almost 2,200 objects are impacted by this release. But of course, we are interested in those most at risk. There they are. And then we want to know, why is VA01 and, for example, VA11 most at risk? Let's focus on that VA01. There you will see that 11 objects are changed, which impact this transaction. And if I click on that one, there they are. These are the 11 changes in our transports which have an impact on this VA01 transaction. So you will see there are some enhancement specs from SAP themselves. There's an include function change and some table configuration changes. Then you will see a link. For example, this include function with a link. And if I click that one, it will bring me back to LiveCompare. And if you are interested, here you can even do an analysis on code level. If you want to know what are the exact changes from the old situation and the new situation to compare, if you are interested, right? And here are some table changes, probably some data configuration changes. And there is also a link. Again, it will bring me back to LiveCompare. And here you can see what are the, per table in SAP, what are the data changes. So for example, in this table, the description has been changed from ZOR order to EMEA order. In this table change, there has been added a new line of the sales document type, which has been added. Or here is a change from AU01 to AU02. These data changes will also be analyzed for your test cases to define which test cases needs to be changed or impacted by this data compare. So in this view, you can see why there are these changes impacting. And then in the next column, if I go back to my home tab, you will see the test hits. So for the VA01, probably there are already 4 test cases available. Click on that one. There it is. Here are 4 test cases, in this case from our test automation solution, which will cover the VA01. But then, of course, why do I have to have 4 test cases to cover this single process? And therefore, I need to go a bit more to the right. Let me zoom out a bit, because Excel changes this column. Let's zoom in again. So here you will see there's a column has data. Remember what I just told you? LiveCompare also shows you data changes. And here it shows you that these 3 test cases has a data change. So based on the impact analysis of data changes, these 3 test cases are flagged like, hey, this is the one you need to have for a regression test or a progression test for some changes. And that's the reason why there are 4 test cases, also to cover the process themselves. If I go back to my Home tab, then the last columns is all around the usage. This information comes from production. So there you can see, for example, that the VA01 has been used 2.3 million times in a certain time frame by 295 unique users. And this is our top user. There they are, our unique users. And why are these persons now important? Why do you want to know? Well, if you are going to start your testing process, these are the guys you need to contact. These are the guys who understand that business process, who you want to involve in what you exactly need to test in those certain transactions. Those are the guys you want to involve in your testing. And yes, also this transaction will be used in the analysis. So this is, in short, how the complete analysis will work. You can run LiveCompare even as a standalone. It just helps you to give that information to focus on what you need to test. It's up to you, right, on what you exactly want to test, but LiveCompare will give you that insights. Where are the risks? Where is the impact? Which transactions do I need to focus on? That's what you can do as standalone. And as a quick short summary, that integration with test automation. So for example, VA01 has 4 test cases, but VA11 has non-test cases, a gap. And if I quickly jump into my test automation, and I'm not going to focus now on test automation, but there it is. In our test automation solution, or another test automation solution, you can see here the requirements. Per application area, there you see the VA11, that's the gap. So we know it's a requirement to create a test case. And if it's a hit, our 4 test cases, you can find it in your execution. And there you can see a complete list of all the matching test cases. And there they are, our 4 test cases, which runs the VA01 transaction, which I can directly execute. So it's a full integration from the analysis also to your test automation. So this is in short how the complete impact analysis on SAP works. It shows you what is the impact. It shows you which objects are being impacted. You can run it and each and every time, and LiveCompare will bring you the results, helping you to speed up your testing process with the right focus and also with the right quality. That's it from my side. Not sure if there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Ferry. We actually have a few questions here. So I'll start with this one. It says, the mapping of gaps related to testing, does it only work with Tosca or can it be integrated to other test analyze tools?
Good question. Yes, it can also be analyzed or connected with other automation tools. In this case, in our platform, we have Tosca, which is our automation solution. But yes, we can also connect with other automation tools. If you do not have any automation tools, you can also use LiveCompare as a standalone to really optimize your testing process.
Thank you. And other question here, is LiveCompare a tool only for SAP?
In this case, currently, yes. In this case, it's focusing on SAP. I do expect next week, also we have our own conference, sorry to mention it, but that's next week. And there will be covered that the next part will also be Salesforce to do the impact analysis. There's also .NET and Java on the roadmap. But at this moment, that's why we have those big SAP projects. That's of course where we first focus here on SAP to scope down the testing project.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't think there's any other question at this moment. So I just want to say a big thank you to you, Ferry, for the demo, and I hope that we get in touch soon.
Sure. Happy to support. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Isabella or myself, and happy to answer them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Så då vill jag bara säga ett stort tack från oss på Lemontree. Och ifall ni har några frågor angående Tricentis så är det bara att ni hör av er till mig på isabella.nyman@lemontree.se. Och hoppas att vi hörs. Tack så jättemycket för att ni har varit med på det här seminariet. Hej då!